You join us at a very special show this evening. It's the trial of Alan Peter Caddick. Good evening, my name is Iain Lee. I am the prosecution. Joined now by the defence, it's Sally. Good evening, Sally.
Good evening, Iain.
Great to see you at a special late-night court session.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be joined by your client very soon.
Hopefully.
Just waiting for things to get underway. And how are you feeling about the case?
Oh, very confident. Very confident.
You're going to be destroyed because I've been practicing law. So.
Oh, right. You fitted it in a week then.
Sorry, what did you say?
Did you fit it in a few days then?
No. I've been watching lots of crime documentaries on Netflix. So, but,
okay.
Admittedly, a lot of my law is based on American crimes, but I think I've pretty much got the idea. By the way, if anyone wants to call in and be a witness, 0344 499 1000. That's 0344 499 1000. Before 11 o'clock, we will be inviting 12 straight-to-air calls to get the jury to decide. Oh, I think there is some movement from the back of the court. Yes, it looks like Judge Boyle is on her way. So would the court please stand for Judge Boyle?
All rise. The court is now in session. Please be seated.
Thank you. Judge Boyle, would you like to take proceedings?
Thank you, counsel. The charges are as follows against Alan Peter Caddick. Is Alan Peter Caddick in court?
I am Judge Boyle.
Could we have your name and date of birth, please? Could you confirm?
Alan Peter Caddick, 16th of February 1980.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caddick. You are charged as follows with one count of taking a call without consent. This happened before talkRADIO days, but it has been brought to my attention, and so we must take it in consideration. Also, 5 counts of calling without due care and attention. According to our records, you fell asleep while in charge of a telephone on several dates, of which I'm sure the prosecution will remind us shortly.
Yes.
And finally, 1 count of taking advantage of a stand-in presenter to commit an act of gross telephonic indecency. This happened in December of this year. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
To all charges?
All charges.
Permission to speak, my lady, my lud.
Permission granted.
Your gavel, which apparently cost you £7, is. I think you've bought a dog toy. That's just a cheap bit of plastic that you're hitting a box with. My gavel. Is my gavel?
Quiet.
My gavel is. Here we go. My gavel is better, but if you're happy using your plastic gavel...
If you'd please stick to the particulars of this case
Yes.
and not being particular about my gavel.
Permission to speak, Judge Boyle?
You may approach the bench.
Thank you. The charges that you've just read up are completely different to the charges that I was told on Tuesday.
Silence in court! Silence in court! Do not contest my authority.
Also, permission to speak. She used the word indifferent when she means different, so I think Alan is screwed.
I did not use the word. Did you say indifferent? I said they are completely different.
You said completely indifferent.
Could we save our arguments for the case in point, please? Counsel.
Excuse me. Can I speak, Judge Boyle?
You may. Briefly.
The charges that I was told on Tuesday are the charges that I have prepared for this evening. These new charges I have not prepared for, so I am asking for a couple of days or a mistrial, please.
You may have a couple of minutes while we talk to the prosecution, and not a minute more.
Alan, just let you know, if at the end of this hour you start crying like a baby when you're sentenced to 10 years hard labour, banned from phoning this radio station, then please don't feel embarrassed. It happens to a lot of people.
I understand.
Okay, good. I'm glad you understand.
Judge Boyle.
Yes.
To start with, I would like to ask the judge to recuse herself on the basis she is friends and work colleagues of the prosecution, and that on the night of the 28th of June 2018 at around 10 p.m, the prosecution is seen to ask the judge to prepare evidence and exhibits that are to be used against my client. this negates the judge's impartiality.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear you, my dear. You'll have to sit down. OK, now let's get cracking.
Here we go. Who goes first? Who's on first?
Ip, dip, do. You.
OK. Alan, Peter, Caddick.
Yes, you're right. Yes, your lordship.
Yes, well, thank you. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
OK, good. Alan, you're charged with one count of taking a call without consent. It wasn't at this radio station. It was Absolute radio station, another station that I got shafted and sacked from. That's not what this is about. That you used to call. Do you remember calling me at Absolute Radio?
I'm afraid I don't have any recollection of the times and dates of those calls.
Sorry?
I don't have any recollection.
I'm not asking for specifics. It's a very simple yes or no question, Mr. Caddick. Do you remember calling me at Absolute Radio? Yes or no?
I might have done it in the past.
You might have done.
Could I have objection, please, Your Honour?
Let me hear it.
On Tuesday, I requested that the prosecution were to give me all evidence and exhibits for the case. I have not been provided, so therefore I have not been able to advise my client on the charges.
Don't worry,
so
we'll play it now.
Details.
We'll play it now. You'll get to hear it now. Alan, so
Hang on a minute. Objection ignored.
No, it's overruled.
Yeah, whatevs.
Well,
Okay.
Who's running this? Is you running it, Judge Boyle, or is Iain running it?
It's me running it, isn't it?
Well, it'd be nice to hear you run it.
I'd like to hear a little bit less of you, madam. It's your turn, prosecutor.
Okay, so you do remember phoning me at Absolute Radio, Alan?
I can't remember the exact number of times I called.
Okay, but you did call me. Can I play something? And this is a clip of you phoning me at that aforementioned radio station without getting consent. Have a listen to this.
That story's finished. Caddick, have you ever been stared at?
I am.
Okay, I bet you have. Go on.
2 years ago, I gotta go. I'll talk quietly because my dad was moaning. I apologise for my dad.
Okay, we apologise to Mr. Caddick as well. So we do apologise, Mr. Caddick.
Anyway, 2 years ago, I was.
Yeah, but now we can't hear you, Alan.
I can hear you. I can still hear you.
Well, you can hear us. Yeah, I know, which is great for you. But we can't hear you.
Yeah, I can talk quietly and still talk in a normal voice.
Okay, good for you.
Right, 2 years ago, I was wearing nothing but pyjamas.
Right, were you in bed?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was doing some fundraising for charity.
Okay, this could be tying in with a topic we never got round to doing, but go on.
Yeah, it was for the One-Eyed Bear charity.
Oh, okay, yes. There are a lot of those one-eyed bears around that need as much help as we can give them.
Funny guy.
Yeah, and I was... What was that, Vinny?
Yeah, no, go carry on.
Can you both just carry on? Because you've both... The first hour was like proper Andre Rally, and now it's gone all slow. So come on, Caddick, come on.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was charging people to go into the car park while I was wearing my pyjamas.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let people in unless they paid a charge.
Yes.
Excuse me,
Excuse
Vinny,
him.
I'm talking here.
He's talking quietly, so he doesn't wake his...
Did you just say wetting your pyjamas?
They were green.
They were green pyjamas. Right, Caddick, get to the point. I'm going to cut you both off in a minute because you both get on my nerves.
Anyway, I've still got to answer for your first topic.
I don't care. You're not going to get that. You are not going to get that far. He's just gone. He's just gone. Right, Vinny, have you got anything else?
Yeah, I've got a middle name for you lot.
Quickly, because you...
There we go. So, by the way, great topic. Have you ever been stared at? We'll be doing that next week. Alan, you made a phone call there without permission, and you bailed out of the phone call before getting to any point of interest.
Let me explain what happened.
Please do.
Do not badger the witness. Don't badger the witness.
I'm asking him to explain.
Shh. Mr. Caddick, proceed.
My dad was still working at the time, and he had to get up early in the morning, and he didn't want to be disturbed in his sleep. That's why he told me to keep the noise down so he can get to sleep. That's why I was talking quietly, and I was on my mobile, which was mine by right. I wasn't using a landline.
Did you or did you not call the show without permission?
But it was my mobile, so it was my right to call.
Did you or did you not bail out of the call before?
Objection. The client has answered the question,
I'm asking
Your
a
Honour.
I'm asking a different question, Your
Objection
Honour.
overruled.
Did you or did you not bail out of the call before any form of interesting information was imparted?
I was being considerate to my father because he had to go to sleep when he was for work in the morning.
So you bailed out of the call early, yes.
I did not bail out of the call, Your Honour.
Did that sound like an ending of a call to you?
No, you cut the phone off before I could make my
I
point.
did not cut the phone off.
I put it to you.
No, you don't put anything to... You don't put anything to me, boy!
Mr. Caddick, let me remind you who's in the dock here, please.
OK, let's move on to the next.
Counsel,
okay?
where is this going?
I have evidence of him calling without due care and attention, phoning in a radio show and falling asleep on the air. Alan?
I only did that the once, to the best of my knowledge.
The once, you say? You only did that the once, Alan?
To the best of my knowledge.
OK. Well, let's...
Let me explain.
No. Let me stop you there.
Let's let him explain.
Yes, Your Honour. Thank you, Your Honour. Thank you, ma'am.
I was on my phone and I was on hold, and you got to me at 10:30, and I was asleep, and you had me on air for the whole show till 1 o'clock in the morning. Then when I woke up at call back on, I realised I was still on the phone to you, and you left me, and I had the phone on all night.
But this only happened once.
Yes.
So that would be this...
And I listened back to the audio.
OK. The audio, yes.
And I heard me snoring all night.
OK, so that would be the one time... The one time would have been on the 3rd of June 2016. Here's a clip of that. Alan's on the line. Good evening, Alan. Hip, hip, hip. I hope that's his mouth. I haven't had this for a long time. So that was the one time, was it, Alan, on the 3rd of June 2016?
Very correct, Your Lordship.
OK. It's odd because I've also got a recording from a year later, the 25th of July 2017. Have a listen to this. But here's the thing, Alan. He's fallen asleep. Again, he's actually fallen asleep. Well, when I said when people fall asleep to the show, it's a compliment, I didn't mean when they're on the flipping phone. Those clips run on for a total of 10 minutes. So we've already proven, Alan, that you're a liar. The final...
Objection, Your Honour. He has not proven to be anything yet. The jury has not voted on whether or not he is guilty or not.
Objection sustained.
She knows all the legal terminology. OK. Well, my final clip is the charge of you...
First of all, are there only 2 occasions that you have records of?
Oh, no, thank you, Your Honour. There are... I have...
Excuse me. Objection,
Excuse
Your Honour.
me.
You are
She's been
leading
hanging
the
out with Alan too.
prosecution.
Excuse me. I have got 3 more dates where you fell asleep on the phone. The 13th of March 2017, the 17th of March 2017, busy week, and the 26th of January, February, March, April 2018. That was just a few weeks ago. The final piece of evidence I'd like to play is the other charge of taking advantage of a stand-in presenter to commit an act of gross telephonic indecency. That was on the 2nd of December last year. Do you know what this refers to, Alan?
Who was coming for you that day?
Jamie East.
Is that the infamous When Harry Met Sally scene?
Let's have a listen.
Oh.
God.
Oh.
Are you okay?
Oh. Oh, God. Oh. Oh. Oh, God. Oh. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Right there. Oh. Oh. Yes. 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 Oh. Oh, yes. 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 Oh, yes. 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 Oh, God. Oh, yes. Oh. Oh.
evidence, Alan. You're still pleading not guilty to all of that, despite the recordings that we have managed to source. And there are plenty more recordings, Alan, that prove that you fall asleep on the job and that you bail out of phone calls and that you make indecent sexual noises to stand-in presenters. How do you explain that?
I was recreating the famous cafe scene from When Harry Met Sally. And Jamie asked me to be Sally during the Meg Ryan part when I could have done the Billy Crystal bit.
I think that's all I have to say, Your Honour. May I suggest that we go to a break before inviting...
The prosecution rests.
The prosecution is going to sit down and have a rest now, yes.
Defender, gather yourself. We'll be with you in a second.
Thank you very much indeed. You are listening to the trial of the century. The case of Talk Radio versus Alan Peter Caddick.
The court is back in session. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have just heard from the prosecution. He's outlined his case. Several charges against Alan Peter Caddick. Still in the dock, aren't you, Mr. Caddick?
Yes, Judge.
So the charges are as follows for anyone joining us. 1 count of taking a call without consent. 5 counts of calling without due care and attention. 1 count of taking advantage of a stand-in presenter to commit an act of gross telephonic indecency. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
The prosecution may approach the bench.
Good luck.
The prosecutor, do you mean the defence?
The defence, whatever. Carry on.
Yeah, good luck, Sally. You're
Okay,
gonna need it, love.
Well, yeah, I will do now. You've changed it all. I'm having to wing it now, aren't I? Yep. So, Mr. Caddick.
Yes.
The day that you phoned in, apparently without any permission, okay, are you sure? What's your explanation for the call coming to an end?
Well, I put the call to the end because my dad told me to be quiet so he could get to sleep, and so he can get up early in the morning to go to work.
Right. So it was purely thinking about your father then.
Yeah.
Objection! She's leading the witness on.
Objection overruled.
No,
Continue.
Right. Okay. So it was just you were thinking about your father and him getting up for work in the evening, in the morning.
That is correct.
Right. Okay. As for the falling asleep, you say you've only fallen asleep once.
That is correct.
That's
Whatever.
correct.
You must be tired.
Right. Have you ever fallen asleep on the show just the once?
On the daytime.
Objection! That question is bollocks.
Stop swearing in my court.
Sorry, my lad.
Right. Okay. Right. So you've only ever fallen asleep on the show once. Is that correct?
Yeah, like for 2.5 hours solid.
Right. Okay. Are you aware of any hotkeys that Mr. Lee uses for his show?
I'm aware that he records audio and clips it onto his computer. Like when I was at Absolute Radio, he made a clip of me doing the excuse me rant.
Yeah. So therefore, I presume he has the technology to edit and clip bits of audio.
Yes.
So those other 4 times that you didn't... The other 4 times that you did not phone... Excuse me, Your Honour. The prosecution is trying to put me off.
Get to the prosecution, please.
I'm not doing anything. That's Alan.
Get to the point, please, counsel.
Okay, so you claim you only fell asleep once, and the other 4 times were... that's not you. I'm putting to you that... Right, so I'm putting to you that there's a possibility that those clips of you snoring for the other 4 times were bits of audio taken from the first and only time that you fell asleep.
That is correct.
Right, okay. As for Jamie East call, who initiated, who decided on what clips should be used? Was it you or Jamie?
It was Jamie.
And who decided who was going to play which character?
A combination of Jamie and Judge Boyle.
So, for, I'm guessing, comedy purposes.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah.
But
I phoned that evening and was asked to play a man's part. So, yes, that is all, Your Honour.
That is it?
Is that it?
Flippin'.
Well, yeah, I'm having to wing everything, aren't I?
Well, look, if you're happy with that,
they're
then
all irrelevant now.
Okay, well, we'll press on to the character witness session of this trial if everyone's agreeable.
Yeah.
Alan, please take a seat. We'll come back to you shortly.
Okay.
Well, I'm happy to let the defence go first. Who would you like to call up first, defence? That's you, Sally.
I will call up Sam, please.
What, Sam who works here?
Yeah, please.
Objection?
Overruled. I think we can have Sam if Sam is agreeable.
Fine by me.
Wow, controversial.
Okay. Sam.
Yes.
What is your job at Talk Radio?
Oh, I'm keen to hear this.
Technical operator.
Oh.
So you would know all about editing, audio, things like that.
Be very
Yes,
careful
I do.
where you're going with this one.
Yes, you do. So is it possible that Mr. Lee took the 2.5-hour audio of Alan Caddick snoring and took parts of that and replayed it to the listeners, pretending that he has yet again fallen asleep 4 more times?
Defence, I must advise you at this juncture, before you pursue this continued chain
You're about to get pwned.
that there are several witnesses to the various times that Mr. Caddick has fallen asleep. There may even be more than 4 people listening to this show at any one time.
Right. Well, they can be called then, can't they?
I'm sure there'll be someone on the phone if you are telling us fibberoos. That's all I'm saying. Continue.
Okay. Is it possible for Mr. Lee to edit those sounds to make it appear that Alan Caddick has phoned again?
It is, yes.
Right, that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to... May I approach Sam?
You may.
Thank you. Sam, it's good to know that what your job was. I just thought you'd won a competition. Sam, of course it's possible that I took one long clip of Alan snoring for 2.5 hours during a 3-hour show and just cut bits out of it. But you've worked on this show for a long time. You replaced that boring Australian guy. I don't remember his name. He's dead now. Have you heard, and answer it honestly, have you heard Alan Caddick falling asleep on the show more than once?
I have heard it.
Thank you very much. That's all the questions I have for the boy.
Thank you very much, Sam. You may get out of whatever that is you're standing in.
I would like...
I don't know why you brought that.
I would like to invite... I'd like to invite CLEO up on stage to the witness box. CLEO.
Well, I was actually...
Shut up! Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you fictional fairy gods?
And no bollocks.
On the spaghetti monster from hell.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you... you've been listening to the show for a long time. I've had the privilege of meeting CLEO at one of the northern gigs. I think it was Manchester. It was a couple of gigs, Manchester and Newcastle. And I'm hoping you'll be coming to the Manchester show on July the 28th. Tickets are going very, very slowly. So we've got plenty left. You've been listening to the show for a long time. You've heard Alan Caddick phoning in before, haven't you?
Oh, many times.
Yeah. Have you ever laughed at an Alan Caddick call?
Yes.
Right. Let me rephrase that. Have you ever laughed at a genuine funny moment from an Alan Caddick call and not laughed at him?
Yes.
I'd like to hear what it was that you laughed at, please.
The one you played about 30 seconds ago of him having an orgasm.
Right. Okay. So him phoning up, making sexual noises of a woman in the #MeToo generation. You found that funny, did you?
In a hinge and bracket sort of scenario, yes.
In an Indian bracket type of scenario.
I'm of that generation where it was a...
You find
humorous
Indians
thing
funny. Wow,
Amen.
we have a racist on the line. Okay. Apart from when Alan...
Objection, Your Honour. That is not proven that CLEO is a racist.
Oh, no, it
I
is.
would
I've got some emails. I'll forward them on to you.
well, then I
Objection
suggest you put that
sustained.
into evidence then.
All right,
Objection
CLEO.
sustained.
Apart from the time when he was mocking women's sexuality, which you found oh so funny, can you name me another time that you were laughing at Alan's performance and not at Alan?
I'd say towards Alan. I've laughed a number of times.
Can you give me an example?
Generally, nearly every call.
What are you laughing at?
His timing.
His timing.
His effervescent.
Right. So you're so timing and effervescence. You are laughing at him. Timing and effervescence are abstract concepts that we can't grab. So you're laughing at him. Those are traits. You're laughing at his traits. Him.
He's a funny man. He's a funny man.
But yet you fail to give me any example of comedy that he's indulged in that is not offensive to orgasming women.
Well, you know what?
Have you ever heard Alan Caddick asleep on the show?
I have, and this is why I rang.
More than once?
Number of times.
No more questions, Your Honour. Thank you. No more questions.
Would the defence like to approach the witness?
However...
Excuse me, CLEO. I've finished. There's no more questions from me. Let's see what Sally's got to ask.
Right.
Hello, CLEO.
Hello, Sally.
Okay. Right, CLEO, I understand that you have a certain health problem. Could you tell us about that?
I suffer from sleep apnea.
Right, could you explain to us what that is?
It's a condition whereupon you don't get a good night's sleep generally, and you tend, even though you think you've had a good night's sleep, you tend to fall asleep at inappropriate moments, or moments of boredom.
More moments of boredom. And what exactly happens? Why does that happen? Why do you fall asleep at? Is there something that happens when you're sleeping that causes that?
You think you've had a good sleep when you haven't. Basically.
Why haven't you had a good sleep?
You may be having breathing difficulties or whatever.
Right.
Objection, Your Honour. Why? I don't care about CLEO's health.
Let's get to the point, please.
Okay. Now, CLEO, you stated to me that you had listened to Caddick's audio of him snoring.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you could pick up on that?
I think he has sleep apnea. He may not be aware of it. And him being victimised in this way would contravene the DDA Act. So but he's basically being condemned for having a disability.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
This is not pretentious to the case in hand. Fascinating as it is to hear the diagnostics from, I believe, a rank amateur, CLEO, unless I'm forgetting your medical training.
You did say rank?
I said rank.
Okay, right, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think that'll do. Unless there's anything else.
I still have one more. Have you been diagnosed with sleep apnea, CLEO?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
so you know a lot about it, and you would know how to recognise the symptoms.
That doesn't necessarily follow, Sally, as you well know. Stop badgering and leading the witness.
Expert.
Okay, thank you.
One final question, Your Honour, if I may. Could you just remind me, CLEO, just for my notes, where did you study medicine? Where did you get your doctorate from?
From me doctor.
The man's an idiot. No more questions.
Thank you very much, CLEO. You may disbench yourself.
Who would you like to call next, Sally?
Who's on the line?
We've got Barry, but boring Barry. We've got Robert. We've got CJ. We've got Gatford, and we've got Rory. And we've got just to say, we got to get all of this done in the next 12 minutes.
Right. Okay. I would like to call Robert, please.
Thought so. Here we go.
Hello, Robert.
Hi, Sally. How are you, love?
I am fine. Let me find your questions, even though they're probably irrelevant now.
Well, I'm sure, apparently I tried to blackmail the judge and the prosecution, so, are you sure I'm allowed to speak to him, you know what I mean?
Well, that's a
You're not ingratiating yourself with the court, Mr. Caddick.
That's a confession to make on the witness stand. Wow.
Excuse me, I've got evidence that I never tried to blackmail you. But
that is not the matter in hand, Mr. Caddick. If you continue to talk out of turn, I will ask you to leave the court.
You're going to ask me to leave the court? Well, it's fabrication anyway, isn't it? But anyway,
right. Chuck him out. Chuck him out. Chuck him out.
Okay, I'm going to call Rory to the tough but fair, I'd have to say.
Well, let's just hope that this is an example to everyone else. I will not tolerate disorder.
I hope you're ready for the fury that will come shortly after the show. I'm going to call Rory to the witness. Rory, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Help me, God, yeah.
Do you find Alan Caddick a boring caller? Yes.
No, it's consistent.
Consistently boring, would you say?
It's consistently, tenaciously on the line.
It's a very simple, it's a binary answer, please, Rory. Do you find Alan Caddick boring, yes or no?
No.
Have you heard him falling asleep on the show?
Several times.
Several times. Are you medically trained, Rory?
No.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honour. No further questions.
Sally, would you like to approach the witness?
Rory, do you think that Alan Caddick is funny?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all.
One final point, I'd just like to say, Alan Caddick is not on trial for being funny or not, and a few people seem to have focused on that.
He's on trial for being dull, isn't he?
Well, I can go through the...
Oh, no,
Wow,
sorry, I forgot
wow,
you
and that's his
changed the
defence
charge,
talking.
didn't you?
Hang on a second, we've got some... thank you, Rory. We've got some argy-bargy. Someone's just bursting into the courtroom. Security, we have an invasion. No, they've been thrown out. That was Robert Caddick trying to get back in.
No,
he's been thrown out. I call Pete. Good evening, Pete.
Hello.
I'm going to let Sally get her hands on you first.
Well, excellent. I mean, all I can say is I
haven't asked
call
the question
bullshine.
yet, Pete. I haven't asked the question, Pete.
I still want to call bullshine.
Yeah, well, you can't until I ask you a question. I'm sorry, but do you think that Alan Caddick is funny?
No.
Why?
Because he's just not funny. Every night it's Iain trying to spin gold out of the solidified urine that comes out of Alan Caddick's mouth.
Are you the Pete that I spoke to on Facebook the other day?
I certainly am.
So you are the Pete that said that you found Iain Lee's contempt for Alan Caddick entertaining.
That's correct.
So you find his calls entertaining then, don't you?
I find Ian's half of Alan's calls entertaining.
But entertaining nonetheless.
Alan himself is a very dull man.
I asked you if you found the calls between Alan and Iain entertaining.
Yes, but that's not relevant to the issue of Alan Caddick being a dull caller.
It is. You can't be dull and entertaining at the
Alan
same
Caddick
time.
is a dull caller. Iain Lee is a fascinating and humorous gentleman.
But you find the calls entertaining. So to get rid of Alan Caddick would make the show worth less.
Oh, Mo.
No.
Anyway, I do have a second point, as I mentioned on Facebook.
You might have many points, but I haven't asked you a question.
Sleep apnea has been brought into this.
Excuse me, Your Honour.
I will have order.
This witness any questions. He can't just come on and say whatever he wants to say.
Please keep your responses to the particular of the case, Peter. You know this. I'm getting tired of repeating myself. Continue, please.
That's all.
Oh.
I've got some questions. Thank you, Sally. Pete, great to see you, mate. How are you doing? You all right? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Sleep apnea. I believe you know a little bit about it. It's been brought up as the reason why Alan might have been so bold as to fall asleep and snore on this show at least 5 times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, it basically means that when you're asleep, you sometimes your throat closes up slightly and you stop breathing. Now, I mean, I've had it for easily the last sort of 10, 15 years.
I'm sorry to hear that, Peter.
That's all right. But what I can say with absolute certainty is that I've never fallen asleep on the phone while trying to call a radio show.
Gosh, and you've had it for how long, did you say?
About 15 years now.
Wow. Have you ever fallen asleep on the phone?
No, and whenever I've called the show in the past, I've always been on quite late, unlike Alan Caddick, who phones up at sort of 9:55 sharp every day. So he's on early.
So are you suggesting that not only is sleep apnea a misnomer here, but also Alan Caddick is a pussy?
I think that might be the case, yeah.
Counsel, if we could stick to courtly language.
I'm surprised the defence didn't call objection there.
I heard the defence snigger.
I have no further questions, Your Honour.
I have maybe 1 or 2 further questions.
Let's stick to one and then see how you get on.
What is your medical qualification, Pete?
My medical qualification is I have been diagnosed by people with better medical qualifications.
Right, but you haven't got any qualifications in medicine at all?
No, I have the letters from people who do have medical qualifications.
No.
Thank you, Peter. That will be all.
Thank you.
I suggest, Your Honour, we take a short break. Come back. Hang on a second. Someone's barging into the court. Security! Robert Caddick has barged into the court again. Security!
Hello?
Mr. Caddick, what do you want? Put down the gun.
Firstly, I'd like to apologise to both yourself and Joanna for kicking off, but can I give my evidence, please?
You may, if you compose yourself during this commercial break and put that weapon down.
Thank you very much indeed. We will not allow any guns in the court. Luckily, my nunchuckers are allowed.
Court is back in session. You join us midway through the trial of one Peter Alan Peter Caddick. He stands accused of several charges. I will repeat them for the hard of remembering.
Your Honour, may I just check that Alan is still awake?
I'm here.
Oh, he's still awake.
He's still
I thought he might have
conscious.
dozed off in the courtroom.
The charges against Caddick, to reprise, are 1 count of taking a call without consent, 5 counts of calling without due care and attention, and 1 count of taking advantage of a stand-in presenter to commit an act of gross telephonic indecency. How do you plead?
Oh, hang on a minute. Hey, how are you pleading?
Not guilty.
Okay.
Earlier we spoke to your brother very briefly. He's pledged to compose himself. And
May I just flag up the time restrictions? We have 7 minutes left of the case.
Let's go through this quickly then, guys.
All right, I advise you, Robert Caddick, to keep yourself to the particulars of this case and to answer all questions as quickly as possible.
Let me just explain where we're going. Be quiet, please. We have 7 minutes of this case, and then we'll be taking 12 calls straight to air. The jury. You are the jury at home. The first 12 calls straight to air, guilty or not guilty.
We'll decide the fate of Alan Caddick.
Away you go.
Sally, take it away. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, well, the questions that I have for you, again, there's no point to them. Do you recall phoning into the show once?
Once or twice, yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. The first time, can you tell me what happened?
Well, it was the very first time I ever rang up, and Iain was excited because not only did he have one Caddick, he had myself, the second Caddick, and
I believe he described it as the most exciting thing ever.
I was just about to say that. He said he was excited because it was the most exciting thing. Not only have I got one Caddick, I've got 2 Caddicks on the phone, and not only the legend Alan Caddick, I've got his brother Robert, and then he introduced us both, and then we started talking.
So he referred to your brother as a radio legend, as a legend?
Yeah, he preferred him as a... Oh, sorry, I can't talk now. Sorry, my teeth was for that. He referred him as a legend, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't refer to somebody as a legend if they were dull, would you? Or boring, or not entertaining, or anything like that?
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't, would you?
No.
Okay. What does Alan do during the day? What does he do as a job?
He cares for both my mum and dad at the moment.
Objection, Your Honour. Irrelevant to the case. What Alan does in the daytime.
How are you going to bring...
relevant.
Okay, let's pursue this a little further, but I am warning you, Sally, this better be relevant.
It is relevant, Your Honour. He takes care of both your parents.
Yeah.
He does that on his own, does he?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
How does he find that?
He finds it very... it's tiring because my mum... my mum can't walk properly, so he has to take her to the toilet and stuff like that. And also he has to make sure that she's in bed safely and that she's had the pills and stuff. Because like Iain knew, last year my mum almost died, and Iain was aware of that as well. So my brother's been caring for my mum as well.
So that must be very tiring for him. Do you find... I know he visited you in Blackpool not long ago. How that was obviously a break for him, wasn't it? Because it's...
Sorry, go on.
Was that a break? Was that... Oh, come on, Your Honour. I mean, the
Sorry.
Turn the music off,
Sorry,
please.
my Walkman just went off in my bag.
Put your pianist away.
Sorry, my Walkman just went off in court. I do apologise.
Okay.
So I switched that off.
But that was a break for him, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be a break for him, but he was still worried about my mum.
Yeah. And did you?
And
did he fall
also
asleep
about sleeping and everything. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to mention, but when Alan was here, He was sat in the settee and he fell asleep talking to me, and that is a condition of sleep apnea.
Objection, Your Honour. Richard, Robert is obviously... Objection, Your Honour. Robert is obviously a very boring man. That's why he fell asleep.
Now. Objection sustained. Objection sustained. But what I will say is that while we are in no doubt as to how caring and good a son Alan Caddick is, that is not what we're talking about today. We are talking about whether or not he fell asleep. He says he didn't. You're saying he probably did. I just want to advise you that you're treading very, very dangerous ground now in your own case.
Who's treading dangerous ground? You changed the rules, so... Sorry to interrupt.
Are you disrespecting my court office again?
No, not at all.
I should think not.
And it came out my mouth.
I should think not, Mr. Caddick.
Yeah, be quiet. So...
Sorry, boss.
I'm going to fall asleep in a minute.
Oh, well, there you go. You're doing a radio show.
Yeah, it must be the RC factor.
Well, I tell you what, if we listen back to the tape, who was phoning in when Alan fell asleep? Maybe one of the callers was so boring it made him fall asleep.
I believe it was one Sally.
Yeah. No, I wasn't
Come
phoning.
on, time is money.
There are other people waiting to give
is
witness.
All, Robert. Thank you very much.
So, what do you want to ask me any questions, Mr. Lee?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Mr. Caddick.
Sorry, Robert?
That's it. What are you scared of asking me? You can ask me anything you want. I'm not.
I know. Thanks very much for telling me how to do my job. I have no questions to ask you. No further questions, Your Honour.
Thank you very much, Mr. Caddick.
There we go. I'd like to call. Wasim to the witness stand. Controversial. Wasim, do you swear to tell the whole truth, the truth, and you not tell any porky pies?
Good evening, Ian. Good evening, Your Honour. I swear by the Lord God.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
That'll do.
Wasim, you're a relatively new listener to the Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee and Judge Boyle. How long have you been listening to the show?
Ian and Your Honour, I've been listening since ever since you got back from the jungle, Ian.
Okay, thank you. So that's approximately 7 months. And it would be fair to say, wouldn't it, Wasim, that you and I have not always got on?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, but we've worked through our differences, and I certainly consider you a very, very valuable contributor to the show and part of the show family. And as that, I'm keen to hear, what do you think when at the start of pretty much every show, I say, let's go to Alan Caddick? Does your heart sink?
First of all, Ian, I think you're a very good man yourself, and we have had our differences, but, we're patched up, and I still pray for you.
Thank you, Wasim. I appreciate your prayers.
I pray for everybody.
If you could answer the question, does your heart sink when I call Alan Caddick at the start of the show?
I just think to myself, whenever Alan calls, he's very dull, to be honest with you. And
says
unlike
Wasim.
other calls... you love my calls, Ian. But anyway, whenever Alan calls, I do think to myself, this is going to be boring, even though he's from the same city as me. I think he does Birmingham a disservice.
Would you ever consider being so rude as to fall asleep whilst holding a telephone?
Not to one of your shows, apart from when your music's on.
And would you ever, Wasim, even if encouraged by an obviously nervous, inexperienced stand-in radio presenter, if that inexperienced, nervous stand-in radio presenter, filling in for an award-winning legend, were to ask you to make the sexual sounds of a woman, would you do it?
No, that's very disrespectful to women.
No further questions, Your Honour.
Especially with a woman, seeing you have a woman on your producer on your show, that would be very disrespectful. I would like to add something else as well, if you would allow me to.
No, objection, Your Honour. You can't just go and add things. You have to be asked.
Let's hear Wasim just this once, but make it worth it, Wasim, for heaven's sake.
Okay, just a quick point, really. I think if Alan was to adopt the approach of callers like Jack, who called about the milk, and, callers like Ken, who spoke about God, and people like Caddick, then maybe he'd go some way towards making his calls a bit more interesting.
You've just shown yourself up as an unreliable witness, my friend.
Could I ask a couple of questions?
You may. I wish you would.
Thank you. Wasim, did you know that the name Sally is also a male name?
No, I was not aware of that.
Well, it is. Have you ever heard Alan Caddick orgasm before?
No, to be honest with you, it wouldn't be something which would interest me very much. I don't really swing that way.
So when he was doing the Harry Met Sally, we don't know if he was imitating a woman, do we? He was playing a person called Sally. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Objection, Your Honour. She's been drinking.
I was on a break at the time. I was reaching for the sick bucket.
Okay, sorry. Right, Wasim, one final question. Have you ever phoned in the show and been put on hold for a period of time?
Yes, I have. I believe I have been, yes.
Right, so therefore Iain controls who comes on when and where in the show.
Iain is the host of the show.
So it's up to Iain, isn't it, whether or not he puts on Alan Caddick first?
Yes.
Right, no further questions, please.
Thank you very much indeed to both counsels for the defence and the prosecution. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I now put to you the fate of one Alan Peter Caddick. As we've heard in this court tonight, there have been various arguments as to his guilt or innocence. Now it is down to you to decide. Please clear your minds of any prejudices you may have had coming into this and focus your minds purely on the evidence presented in this court over the last 55 minutes. Now, if you would like to call us on 0344 499 1000, we will hear your verdicts. What we will take is a majority verdict in this case. I don't think it's going to be all one way. Therefore, 0344 499 1000, tweets and text will not do. Let's hear from you.
Okay, we will be taking calls. Calm down, please. We will be taking calls straight to air. You'll come straight to air. All I want is guilty or not guilty. It's the best of 12. Let's go to line 1. Do you find Alan guilty or not guilty?
The jury here says not guilty.
Thank you very much. Line 2. Do you find the witness guilty or not guilty? Hello?
Alan Peter Caddick is a sleeper cell, and therefore he must go down, Your Honour.
So just to clarify, you're saying guilty?
Guilty, Your Honour.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's go to Barry in Weston. Supermayor Barry, do you find Alan Caddick guilty or not guilty?
I find Alan not guilty.
Yeah, you would. Okay, well, that's 2-1, not guilty. Line 4, do you find Alan Caddick guilty or not guilty?
Most definitely not guilty.
Okay, thank you.
Write it down, counsel. Write it down.
It's 3-1. 0344 499 1000. Line 5. Do you find Alan Caddick guilty or not guilty?
Guilty as sin.
Okay, I wonder where that was going to go. Okay. Okay, 3-2. Very close. Line 6. Is Alan Caddick guilty or not guilty?
He's not guilty.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. It is 4-2. This is very tense. Line 3. Do you find Alan Caddick guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Sorry, did you say guilty?
Not guilty.
Oh, okay, right, okay. Well, that's 5-2. Okay, he needs 2 more to win. Just think about line 4 before you say it. Guilty or
no.
Just think, really think. Guilty or not guilty?
Don't try and sway the jury, please.
It's India, mate. India.
Oh, for God's sakes, man. Line 2. Do you find Alan guilty or not guilty?
He is guilty.
Thank you very much indeed. That's there we go. Let's go to line. Just be careful with the phone there, please, Sally. I know it's exciting, but let's go to line 5. Line 5. Do you find Alan guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
It's 6-3. One more.
We'll decide.
Well, one more for not guilty, and Alan's got this. We'll be, of course, appealing. We'll have to do this next week. Line 2. Do you find... Don't make me laugh. Do you find Alan guilty or not guilty?
Guilty on all charges.
Oh! It's just got tense.
Line 6. Do you find Alan guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Oh, no!
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Caddick. You've been found not guilty in this court of law. Talk Radio's first Crown Court has found you not guilty. How do you feel?
Thank you very much, Your Honour. Thank you for my faith in the British justice system.
And?
I'd like to thank my defence counsel for putting up a spirited defence. And thank you very much for a spirited fight, Ian.
Well, you know, the law is an ass, and we've all just been riding an ass, a big hairy ass. Well done, Sally. You put up an excellent fight.
So you're going to shake on it?
And well done, Sally. You obviously got passed that brown envelope around before the jurors came in. And
excuse me.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, there we go. Well, Your Honour, would you like to close things up?
Thank you very much indeed. I will now close this court session for today. Hopefully I don't see any of you again anytime soon. All rise!
All rise.